Merry Christmas!
Hello internet friends, this is a video for anyone looking for gift ideas for a retro dad like me. You may be able to recognize a retro dad. If you have a retro dad, their hair may not be what it once was. There's not quite as much of it up there. You might check around for like under the chin, snow effect on the beard. If they bang on about how music was best in the 80s and 90s, you're probably dealing with a retro dad. But it's a good time to be collecting for someone like me of my generation, because a lot of the big toy lines are bringing out retro themed things. And in this video I want to talk about what I consider the 5 best lines at the minute. So the first one I want to talk about is, as you may be able to tell from the background, Transformers. This is retro themed packaging from the 80s. It's still available on eBay. Some of the specialist shops like Kapow Toys occasionally gets them in demand, gets restocks of these. Check out my video here for a list of the top specialist retailers for people in the UK. So this line is kind of continuing, but not always in this packaging. They've just brought out a version of Hot Rod and Starscream that are coloured slightly differently, have different packaging that is like the animation from the 80s. If you can get hold of those are really desirable. But the modern Transformers, the new releases, are also bringing out versions of characters from the 80s. So the Studio Series 86 line, for instance. This is a modern line, but they're all recreations of characters from Transformers the movie, the animated movie from the 80s. They're really faithful reproductions. They have modern articulation. They're absolutely fantastic. My favourite thing to collect personally at the moment. But beyond the Studio Series 86, there are lines like the Legacy series that is going on at the moment that bring out characters from the 80s. So check out all those different Transformers lines. Next up are the Retro Turtles from Playmates. These are really good recreations of the original figures. If you're in the Americas, then you've been getting these boxed collections of retro recreations for years, but they don't usually come through to the UK. This particular line has done now. It's still hard to find, however. I had to get mine through Amazon and eBay, but they are coming up on those specialist shops. Again, check that link. The actual turtles inside, the paint is not 100%. So for instance, Donatello is a lot darker here than the original. If you check out some videos, compare and contrast. Now I have been in touch with Comics and Cocktails, where I have a pre-order in for some more of these, but they are they've been delayed. They said they're hoping that they will come up soon, maybe before Christmas, but if you want to get these before Christmas, it's probably Amazon and eBay. They are there and they're not too overpriced. This real Ghostbuster line from Hasbro, which was released to coincide with the Afterlife movie, is absolutely fantastic. Of all the retro lines, this one is just, let's recreate it 100%, get as close as humanly possible. There are slight differences, but if you're looking for something that recreates the vintage line that you remember, this is absolutely brilliant. As I say, it was tied into a media property, the Afterlife movie. So they have gone from most of the shops at this point. You're still able to pick up a few of them. These 2 ghosts that came in a second wave are still available, because obviously they're not going to be as popular as the main Ghostbusters. But on the secondary market, they're not too bad. Lots of people have got hold of them, and on eBay in the UK, you can pick up the 4 Ghostbusters for a reasonable price on eBay at the moment. MOTU Origins is a line that's absolutely crushing it at the moment in terms of recreating a vintage feel, but with modern articulation. Unlike the Ghostbusters guys, these guys can do a lot more. They can be posed a lot more dynamically than the original vintage, but the packaging is very similar. Until recently, these guys were available at mainstream retail, but I went into Smith's Toys recently. They seem to have stopped carrying Masters of the Universe entirely, so MOTU Origins is not there. And there's a chance that Mattel may be saturating the market with just too many different lines of MOTU at the moment, but the Origins is continuing, still being released. I've got one on order, and they filter through the specialists, and there's plenty of supply on eBay. I just did a quick look the other day for some pricing, and there's loads of options and reasonably priced. One line that I don't have here because they are all on pre-order for people at the moment, not many people have got them in hand, but it's this Dungeons and Dragons cartoon retro thing. Of all the retro lines that are available at the minute, when I was thinking to pick 5, they look absolutely fantastic. As I say, I haven't got them in hand. Anyone who was interested in kids Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s, I think would get a buzz out of them. When I saw them, I thought, wow, hopefully they'll get some stock in before Christmas. I just wanted to recommend them because they are so good. They didn't exist in that form in the 80s, but it's a faithful recreation of the cartoon, and I think anyone of my generation, retro dad as I say, will be chuffed with those. Again, I will link to that toy collecting video up in the top, which shops to check out. I've been Nabia, thanks for watching, see you next time.